Good morning, happy Sunday, and welcome to another edition of Lakers Fast Break Spotlight on Lakerholics Weekend. With me is Michael Heinrich. My Laker Tom will likely not be joining us tonight, today, whatever.
It's morning, early morning here.
Mid morning here, so it's still morning. Still working through some coffee on my end. So here we go.
Yeah, me too.
Morning, Raphael. We got 5 games to close out the season, Michael. And the last 5 leading up to this have been pretty up and down in terms of execution, effort, efficiency.
Lucas disjointed is the good word for it.
Yeah, it just hasn't looked like it's that there was a great spirit of togetherness, and then we had some injury bugs, and it all kind of went away. And now I'm like, can we get it back? Can we get anything resembling? Can we get anything resembling like that back in the next week and a half? 2 games against OKC, 1 game against Houston. I think another game against Sacramento.
Portland and Dallas.
Thank you. Portland's playing for pride. That's the scary thing right now because they are playing really well. I don't look at that as an auto. None of those are auto wins, in my opinion. Everybody's expecting OKC to not take this seriously. I think they're going to take it very seriously because the way the brackets match up, we'd be facing them sooner than later if things were to end today. So I just did a 5 today where 5 things I'd like to see us achieve in the next 5 games. Number 1, I'll just go through real quick and then I'd like to get your thoughts on these things. 1 is for Luka to rediscover his shooting touch. Kind of came back in the second half of this last game, but it's been mostly MIA for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. For LeBron to stay healthy, just stay healthy. A healthy LeBron is a good LeBron at this point, so we just need him on the floor. That's all I have to say about it. Stay healthy, LeBron. We need to reactivate Rui Hachimura. I feel like putting him back in the starting lineup might be the best way to do that. I like Dorian Finney-Smith in the starting lineup, but I think that he plays well regardless of whether he starts or comes off the bench. I think Rui is just much better as a starter. It's just what I see. It's just how I feel about it. 4 is keep Reeves grooving. That should have come off the tongue a little smoother. Keep Reeves in his groove. Reeves is playing great. I don't want to do nothing to knock him off of his pedestal. And then the last thing is somebody from the bench every night needs to score 10 to 15 points. It doesn't have to be the same guy, but we need 15 points consistently off the bench. It can be Vincent. It can be Rui if he stays on the bench. Dorian Finney-Smith if he goes to the bench. Bando, Connect, although I kind of expect Connect's minutes to go away as the season ends. What are your thoughts on those?
Well, first of all, I've been concerned with Lucas shooting as well. And when he was missing, he's missing short. Which tells me there's something going on, fatigue or whatever. But ankle, whatever the thing is, he's not getting the same lift on his shots.
And he doesn't look smooth out there when he's moving. Not as smooth as I've seen him in the past. I don't think his calves are 100% at all.
Yeah, I think there's physical issues there. LeBron just be LeBron. He's starting to look pre-injury LeBron, a little at a time, which is good news.
Great,
So as far as Rui is concerned, Rui's starting. It's just that he's still under management, so he didn't play the last game.
Is that what it was? Okay, I didn't know he was still under minutes on a minutes man or like just an injury man.
Yeah, it was a second of a back-to-back, so there's still.
And we have one more weird two.
I'm hoping he plays the last back-to-back. I hope he's progressed enough for that because he really is important to this team, especially when we go small. He's a vital part of that because of his strength. So,
agreed.
Yeah. What can you say about Dalton, man? The guy's,
Reeves.
He's third in the running for most improved. He probably won't get it just because he's playing with Luka and LeBron. But man, he's been our best player.
He's been our best player. No, he needs to be higher up. I mean, Cade Cunningham's going to get it, and I think deservedly so. I mean, what the turnaround that Detroit has seen this year, the renaissance that they're going through as a team, is undeniable. It's great for the city of Detroit, state of Michigan. It's great for basketball. Basketball is better when there's a good team in like the major markets like Detroit, New York, San Antonio. All of them are major markets. Really, it's just the small market teams have a harder time drawing free agents, but like they can all be good. And when when teams like Detroit are good, I feel like it's healthy for the league. It's great for the East Coast or the Eastern Conference rather, because there's been a precipitous talent drain over the last 2 seasons of players migrating west.
And you're seeing the results in the standings.
And I mean, last year I was like, wow, the East looks stacked. Like, this is going to be really interesting for the next couple of years. And then all the players came west. And it's like, oh no, it's not. That's done now.
Then your last point on the bench, something has to happen there. I mean, we lost the Golden State game because of the bench. 28-7.
It was
28-7.
It was a shellacking on the bench. The bench just did not show up.
And the starters played well enough to win that game.
Agreed. No, the bench. This is my thing. Like, I love Gabe Vincent is. I think you can count on 10 points a game from Gabe. So, like, if that's the case, we just need another guy to score 10. 10. That's it. 15 would be amazing.
Well, Dalton looked good last game, but then look who we were playing. I
know he's going to get murdered by. That's the problem I have with Dalton Connect, is that if he is not matched up against a slower than defender, they're going to pick on him. Yeah. He needs to play against the slower guys, and the problem with that is we're coming up to the playoffs. Yeah. There's no more bad teams for the foreseeable future. There's not even a bad game left in the season.
Plus, he's a rookie, and if you noticed, it generally, I mean, there's exceptions to every rule, but generally speaking, it takes rookies, 2, 3, 4 years to learn how to play NBA defense.
100%.
So it's that's part of it. I think that he has the IQ and the instincts that he could be a relatively good team defender. He's never going to be a one-on-one defender.
I don't need him to be.
No.
What you said is exactly right. If he can be an average team defender, great.
Yeah, because he can shoot the hell out of the ball. So
yeah,
but
we need that. We need scoring, but we can't let the bench just needs to be short out. And like, I'm a huge fan of Vando. I'm not getting enough points out of Vando. I'm a huge fan of Rui and or DFS. They're not, whenever one of them's on the bench, they're just not showing up, and they both can't start. So one of them has to figure it out. One of them has to figure out how to have the kind of impact they have as a starter when they're coming off the bench. And if that means we actually, I know Tom a couple weeks ago had said, like, I'd like to see more set plays. And I think that that's maybe part of the thing that we could do to unlock one of those two guys, whoever's coming off the bench. But like, one of them's got to contribute, and I don't know what the magic formula to make that happen is.
Yeah, this last game where they carried us the game before.
Yep, right.
And then they disappeared in this last couple of games, and it's like, I think the last game they totaled 9 shots between Gabe and DFS. Total right. 9 shots. I mean, that's
not enough.
That's not enough, So it's, and I think from what I understand, Dorian is a reluctant shooter. They're always having to. JJ said he had to gently remind him from time to time to shoot the ball, right. And he has to have that mindset. Making or missing, he has to be shooting the ball.
He's making. What's he making? 18 mil, right?
15.
15.
Yeah.
He needs to. He and Vando both. I need 5 points out of Vando. Vando needs to score 5. I need 10 to 15 from Gabe, and I need 10 to 15 off of either DFS or Rui, whoever's.
We have to get something out of Goody too, because he's in the rotation, and he's shown that he can make a shot.
Yeah,
he took one shot last game, and he took one shot the game before.
I think that he's got to be. I mean, I don't want to see set plays run for Vando. I don't want to see set plays, but like Goodwin and Vando are good enough rebounders that they should be able to get a couple of putbacks. I guess that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for them to like not kick it out, but to like take it right back to like they get the offensive rebound, take it up hard. If you get blocked, I'm okay with that. If you get fouled, that's how you generate points at the rim, man. Like that's the goal. You're gonna get to the free throw line, sink a couple free throws. Let's keep it going. So, tough. I think that's where they have them stashed. I think I think that this has been a weird year for Vanderbilt. I'm a big Vanderbilt fan. I'm looking at this year as kind of a rebuild year for him, in that he basically had 2 years off of basketball due to the various foot injuries he was going through. He went through what seems like a very difficult post-surgery rehab because it took so long to come back from. And I think he's still getting.
It was both feet.
Both feet, yeah. So that's. I mean, he wasn't able to like stay in conditioning. When you can't get on your feet, you're not going to stay in great shape. So I look at this as kind of like he's getting his wind back, he's getting his strength back, he's getting his hops back. I'm a little more excited for next season for Vanderbilt, but then that means you still got to figure out a way to contribute now. And the problem is that after Vando, there's not a lot on the bench. I mean, I don't see Dalton Connect unless he's shooting lights out, getting big minutes in the playoffs. There's some interesting points about today's game. I'll get to those in a second. I do want to talk about today's game. I'm just kind of looking at the state of the team right now. You know, we got 5 games left. There's only a few. We're here. We're coming up in the playoffs. We'll talk about seeding here in a few. We'll talk about today's game here in a few. I just need to see the guys. The energy guys can't just be energy guys. They also have to put up some kind of numbers, whether it's rebounds or assists, blocks, steals, actual points. All of those things are what are going to help us win basketball games. Because I think between Reeves, Luka, and LeBron, you're looking at close to 90 points a game, one way or another, right? 85, 90 points a game between those three, fairly consistently.
And Rui's going to chip in another 13 to 20.
That's right. So you're right. There's your 100 points, right? And then there's going to be another 20 points off the bench in theory. Hopefully, I'd love to see it be more like 25. But if in the playoffs, there's not going to be the lobs. There's not going to be all the backdoor cuts that are hallmarks of this Laker offense. I'm not saying they're going to go away completely. There will be fewer of them because you're only playing against one team. They're not going to be like, how do we stop these lobs? They're going to figure out how to stop the lob. they're going to scout it, and
it becomes a chess match.
Exactly. And so this is again where Luka and LeBron are kind of an edge unto themselves, and Reeves to a large degree is an edge unto himself. I don't know if it's enough against OKC. I don't think it's enough against Denver. I think it's probably enough against Houston. It's probably enough against whoever comes out of the 7, 8, 9 spots. Probably enough against the Clippers, although that's actually a bad matchup for us because Zubats really does a number on us on the offensive glass.
We controlled them the last game. We controlled them.
But that was one game. Up until then, they kind of owned us all season long. For multiple seasons, to be honest. We have not done well against them.
But we swept them.
Did we sweep them this year? No, they beat us in the first game.
3-1. Yeah, we got 3-1.
Yeah. And I agree. We've looked better, but I think one of those, or at least one of those, maybe 2 of those games were without Leonard. Leonard's playing better late. The Clippers are a little bit worrisome to me because they have a lot. If they're playing the Lakers, there's a lot of animosity, let's just say, built up in that relationship that the entirety of Clipper Nation would be more than happy to pour into a single playoff series and see us lose. And that's just that I don't know. I'm a little concerned about the Clippers. I'm not going to lie. I just don't think we match up great against them. I don't think we have anybody that can control Zubats. And I don't think we have anybody that can stop Leonard consistently. And if Zubats gets going and Leonard gets going, that's a problem for us.
The thing about Leonard, though, is he hasn't been Leonard.
No, you're right. He hasn't been Leonard all season. He's shown you glimpses here and there, but he hasn't been like he hasn't gotten on like a 10,
Leonard.
No, he used to get on like these 10, 12, 20 game rolls where he was like getting 3 steals, scoring 30 points, and like it's more like getting a steal and scoring 20 points, and that's manageable.
Yeah, actually, Harden, and what's his name? What's the guy's name that can't think of it.
Not Maxi. Anyway, it'll come to us at some point.
Yeah, but
Terrence Mann.
Yeah. No, not Terrence Mann. Their other starter that used to be a reserve, scoring 20-some points a game this year.
Oh, I forget. Anyway,
I have to look it up. But anyway, Harden and Leonard's been like the third most important guy.
I know, but I feel like he's saving himself for the playoffs. It's just a bad feeling.
maybe the injury. The body can only
heal so much
over a certain amount of injuries. After a while, it just, they pile up.
Yeah. No, at 50, there's some nicks and pains in the back where I'm like, okay, this might not ever really go away. Mightn't it? All right, let's talk about today's game. There's some interesting comment. Norman Powell. Thank you, Lakers fast.
Norman Powell. There you go.
Thank you, Gerald. Yeah, we were both like,
he's been huge for them this year.
I appreciate it, Gerald. Appreciate it. That means Gerald's out there spying on us. Ooh. Powell is awesome. Tough, Stu. You're right. Okay. A couple of things. Somebody wants to know how we're going to contain Jalen Williams. He's a handful. Who do we put on him? I think you put Finney-Smith and Rui. I don't think you can put Finney-Smith or Rui on SGA. I think you waste them putting them onto Holmgren. And I think you waste them putting him on Dort. Because Dort isn't much of a driver. He's a play finisher. He doesn't create shots. He finishes plays. So you can put LeBron on Dort. And that's a great assignment for LeBron or Luka. If one of them needs a defensive break, you put him on Dort, right? And you just say, just stay on him. Don't let him shoot from the corner. Okay, great. That's how you handle Lou Dort. SGA, it's going to be a combination.
Huh? He'll get his.
He'll get his, right. You can, almost.
How can we control the rest of the guys? That's
exactly. I don't want to see. Williams is an interesting one because he has the potential to just do it all. He can do it ISO. He can do it off a play. He can do it off a ball mode. He's got a deep toolbox that he doesn't really get to fully showcase on the Thunder, but they've got a great culture there and everybody's buying in. And SGA is clearly the best player on that team. Probably won't win MVP just because of that 60-point triple-double Jokic just put up recently, which is ungodly. The fact that it came in a loss is kind of awesome. I won't say that I wasn't happy about that because I was extremely happy about that. But I have a hard time seeing SGA winning it. I think he deserves it as much as anybody. I think getting a team like that of young guys to the number one seed, and he is clearly the best player on the team. And he's not going to get enough consideration for defensive player of the year. He's a superstar. He's a white hot Nova in the NBA, and he's going to be around for long. But your thoughts on OKC? I think that Williams is key. I think keeping the big guys off the glass is key. I think if Holmgren goes for a big game today, it's not tonight. It's in like an hour. 12:30 start. So this is really just a pre-game show now that I think about it.
Yeah.
What do you think? Everybody's saying we have to slow down SGA and DFS and Gabe have to show up. I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned with Holmgren as I am with Hartenstein, actually, to tell you the truth.
Either one. No, I just mean they're big.
Yeah, Holmgren is both Rui and LeBron are strong enough to keep Holmgren out of his spots. I mean, he's this big, tall, skinny guy. And he's never really hurt us that badly. But the combination of the two is a concern because Hartenstein is, a huge rebounder, good playmaker, big body. He's going to be he's a lot for Jackson to handle for sure.
Too much.
So that's the guy that I'm more concerned with. Not even from a scoring standpoint, but just by controlling the boards, offensive rebounds, that kind of stuff. So I'm more concerned with him than I am with Holmgren. I think that LeBron and Rui, either one can, they're both stronger than him. They both outweigh him.
That's the problem. He doesn't have enough in his back pocket.
Yeah, and that's Jackson's problem.
Yeah.
Jackson needs to put on 15 pounds of muscle over the summer.
He needs to go on a full-on Twinkie diet. Twinkies and working out.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a little get a little bulk in there somehow, baby.
Yeah, because
I love that he's
his problem because he's not strong enough. He gets pushed around.
Yeah, if he had a stronger core, because like you look at like a guy, he should do the Kawhi Leonard workout. You look at Kawhi Leonard and you don't see a guy who's like rock solid. But then you see a guy like hit him, and then the other guy bounces physically off of his body. You're like, oh, this dude is like a mass of muscle, and it's just lean.
Well, look at LeBron. I mean,
LeBron's the same way. Yeah, exactly.
He's 250 at least,
But he weighs the same as Hayes, and Hayes
is 220.
Yeah, he was more than Hayes, and his 4 inches are so shorter. And you're just like, Hayes, you need to put on some bulk, man. I don't think
Rui's 235. He outweighs Hayes.
But that's why Rui is our small ball center.
Yeah.
That's why Rui is our small ball center.
He's an extremely strong guy.
People are saying we can't match OKC in the small ball game. What are your thoughts on that? I think we have a better chance than advertised.
I think we have a better chance at small ball than against both. The good news for us is they don't play the two guys together a lot. They start them in the first and the third quarter, maybe to close the game. But that's the good news. I think we match up pretty well when we match up pretty well against anybody in small ball because our small ball really isn't all that small. I mean, you've got LeBron is 6'8", 6'9". You got Rui 6'8". Finney Smith's, he's 6'8". And even our guards, Luka's 6'7". So our small ball really isn't all that small.
No, but I mean, I think a lot of people look at small ball and they look at like a Golden State or they look at like Minnesota last season where you still have a big and who can shoot threes. Because in my mind, small ball isn't so much that every player is a certain size. It's that you're switching everything because everybody's fleet of foot and you're basically playing 5 out and letting somebody drive and kick all the time. That's my personal interpretation of small ball. It may be overly simplistic. People are wondering why we didn't pick Christian Wood back up and why we kept Len. It's just not going to happen, folks. Like the
Christian Wood is not healthy yet.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing. I think he's still got bad knees. I don't think he's ever going to be the Christian Wood that you saw in Houston ever again. I don't think he's motivated to get healthy.
When nobody picked him up, that tells you that he's not healthy because he could have helped somebody.
I honestly don't mind Len on the team. I don't mind Len on the team for 2 reasons. One, he is much heavier than Hayes. You can at least see if he can hang with a banger center like Hartenstein. I mean, Hartenstein is clearly the better player. I'm not trying to say that Len can match up with Hartenstein. If Len can just hold his own,
he doesn't have to do it for long. I mean, we're not talking 20 minutes a game. Give us 5 to 10. Give us 5 to 10 minutes, 4 or 5 fouls.
Maybe try to keep the fouls down, but yes, I mean,
hurt somebody.
Just make him not feel comfortable going to the rim. Knock a guy down, push a guy out of bounds, then sit on the bench and
he is a seasoned vet. And he has a couple of times he looked pretty decent. I mean, I'm not going to say he looked great, but he looked decent.
No, I think he's fine. I think he's fine, and I don't think there's a great spot for him in this rotation currently. Like the way the team is playing right now, there's not a consistent role for him. And so I think that the coaching staff is doing a smart thing rather than like sending him out there and having him like play weird minutes. I would imagine they're saying like, look, you're here for the playoffs. There might be a series where you're getting 20 minutes a game, and then there'll be other series where you're not going to play at all. Just stay ready. And he's a professional, like you said. Yeah. He's been in the league. He had a choice. He could have gone to New Orleans and been on a tanking team and played a lot of minutes. I think he realized that this is a unique opportunity, and in my opinion, he made the right choice. I would rather have Alex Len than Christian Wood. I've never been a big believer in Christian Wood.
Yeah, Christian Wood's another guy, 6'10", 210 pounds.
I just don't see. He's just not my kind of guy. I know some people love small ball centers or centers that can shoot threes. I think when your center is shooting threes, you need to have excellent rebounding guards and excellent rebounding small forwards. And we don't really have that. We have guys that get rebounds, but they don't like crash the glass like Josh Hart does. Josh Hart is an excellent rebounding guard. Goodwin is an excellent rebounding guard. He goes after the ball. LeBron and Luka are tall enough and in the right position enough that they get 8 to 10 rebounds a game. They don't crash the glass like you need a guard to do if you're setting.
Well, Austin gets 5.5 boards a game.
I know, but it's not through the type of activity that if your center's out there shooting threes, you're losing such a huge rebounding factor. Everybody needs to get like 2 or 3 extra rebounds a game to make up for it. I think that was why Minnesota traded Cat, is that they realized that their best lineup had a flaw, that nobody could be inside to rebound. Well, you can't play Cat and Gobert together. It's just too. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
That was really wonky.
It was wonky. So we definitely need a backup center playing today. We have backup centers. They just don't play. I don't know that they'll play today. We'll see. Maybe. I wish we could pair Luka with Ware from Miami. Yeah, sure. There's a lot that I wish. The summer's for the summer. I'm not going to get into summer stuff. We got a whole playoffs. We got playoffs to get through and 5 more regular season games. Let's talk about seeding. Lakers are currently the number 3. I personally feel there's only one team I care about home court advantage over, and that is Denver. I could care less about any other team. I would like for us to play fewer games at altitude. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. For me, I would love to finish 3rd simply because we wouldn't see OKC until the finals if we got that far.
Right. Also true.
Yes. Also true. So that to me, and we need to go 4-1. In order to do that, I think we can do that if we beat OKC once. We got to split.
Yeah, we got to split. You want to say hi to everybody? Do you want to say good morning, royal subjects?
Greetings, royal subjects.
Okay, you go back. We're about to go on some adventures here. She dressed up like an epic princess, and so we're going to go have some fun.
My daughter liked stuff as a princess when she was
who doesn't? That's one of the things. It's one.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. Okay, sound good. I love it. I have no problem being any kind of royal employee or royal person, or I'll be the stable boy or whatever. I don't care. Dad has many jobs, and I think you're absolutely right. I think getting the 3rd seed is kind of key. It's really the key to the playoffs this season. If we can be the 3rd seed, I think we are really setting ourselves up for a great series of matchups. I should bring the playoff bracket up here. Give me a second. I just want to kind of see where we're at.
Yeah, the good news is, you look at, we've got some tough games ahead of us, but just about everybody that's left that we're battling with does as well. Nobody has a cakewalk.
Nobody has a cakewalk. I agree.
I think the Warriors are the closest to it, and they still have 2 or 3 tough games left. So,
what am I doing here? Come on, brain. No, I don't want to sign up for all that. I was going to go here. All right, here we go. I know what we're doing. Let's do this real quick.
I'm still bummed about that Bulls game, man. We win that game, and we're in so much better shape than we are right now. I hate
the Bulls game and the no-show against Golden State are still bothering me.
Yeah.
They really are bothering me quite a bit, unfortunately. Yeah. Chrome tab. Why won't you do me the Chrome tab? There we go. Select tab to share entire screen. Sure. No, that's not doing it either. All right. I don't know. The sharing aspect isn't working for me. Great. No.
Yeah. I mean, the Duke pulled a Lakers this weekend by losing 7-point lead in less than a minute.
You needed one more bucket or 2 stops. Couldn't get them. Amateurs, man. Timberwolves cakewalk? I don't think Timberwolves are a cakewalk. All right, so let me just say how it would shake up right now. Right now, if the season were to end, the Mavericks would be playing the Kings for to see who would play the Thunder, and the Clippers would be playing the Grizzlies to see who would play the Rockets. We would match up against the Timberwolves. I don't think that would be a cakewalk, and the Nuggets and the Warriors would play. That would be a great series because no matter what, one of the teams I'm scared about gets taken out.
You know what? There isn't a cakewalk.
I agree. There's
no cakewalks.
No, I would. If we got the Kings somehow, that's a cakewalk. Kings are a cakewalk for us.
Yeah,
Mavericks,
but if we'd have to finish second to get them.
we're not going to. No, I know we're not going. It's not happening.
Yeah, because Houston would have to lose 3 of the last 4, and we'd have to win out.
Yeah, it's not happening. Just everybody with the number 2. Tom posted a thing today like, here's how we get to the number 2 seed, and I was just like, it's just not happening. Like, and if it happens, awesome. But like, let's not predict that it's gonna. Like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, Houston has 4 tough games left, but I don't think they're going to go 1-3.
No, and I don't think we're going to win.
And I don't think we're going to win out.
I don't think we're going to win out. I think we're going to lose one of these 2 games against OKC, and I think it's going to be really hard for us to beat Portland because we're not going to want to play a young team.
Yeah,
like
but see, here's the deal with Portland, Jamie. They were trying to get that play-in game. They're not going to get there.
They're close though,
and but they're not going to make it. So here's the deal: last game of the year, you can, and there's several teams bunched in the lottery. You lose a couple extra games, and you might finish a couple rungs higher in the lottery standing. So that last game, are they going to play to win that game, or are they going to play for a lottery spot? Same thing with the last thing against Houston. They will have nothing to play for. Are they going to throw out their starters, or are they going to rest people? There's a lot of variables there. I was hoping that OKC had a bigger lead on the Cavs for overall, but they dropped that last game. It screwed us just like it screwed them. So now they only have a 2-game lead on the Cavs for top overall. So they might be throwing out their starters both games.
Here we go. I figured it out finally. All right, so here we are. This is what I mean. We'll ignore the East Coast right now. I really think that it's going to come down to the Cavs and Boston one way or the other. Bucks might surprise some people. I think that really depends on if Lillard comes back and what he looks like, but we'll see. Mission 24, an Austin for Gafford trade. I think that is just ridiculous. Right now, YYC, you're getting your dream. If the season were to end today, it would be the Nuggets and the Thunder, the Warriors, and that's my potential. That's my dream scenario as well. I think us facing the Warriors in the first round is bad. They just showed us they are more than capable of whooping our butts. Jimmy Butler's unlocked something in Steph Curry that I'm a little bit surprised at. He looks like Steph from 5 years ago. He is moving so smoothly. That team is playing great defense. They're playing smart offense.
One thing about that game, though, Jamie, is Porzingis. What's the guy's name? The other guard.
Podzemski.
Yeah, Porzingis had a career game.
I know.
The best game of his entire career.
I know.
So he's tough. He's a good player, but he's not a superstar player. And he just, every once in a while, a guy, a good player goes off and has a great career-defining game, and he had one of those. So I don't think they can count on that from him every game.
Yeah. No, I agree. But Jimmy also only scored like 10 points. Jimmy's not going to be scoring no 10. It's going to balance out. And that's what I guess I'm concerned about is like that team is playing the way we were playing a month ago. They're all locked in. They're all playing within the structure really, really well. It all looks like it's working. And we aren't back to that point yet. And we only have 5 games to get there.
Yeah, still, it comes back. I mean, it comes back to the bench. I mean, their bench is a lot tougher than our bench. So our starters are going to have to do a better job. I mean, Steph's just Steph. He's had some bad games against us, but overall, he's going to. You can expect him to go off. So you have to worry about everybody else. Yeah. I thought we did a good job with. It wasn't just that. LeBron is a tough matchup for Jimmy as far as defense. LeBron has Jimmy a lot of that game, and he's bigger and stronger, and Jimmy's not fleet of foot.
No, not as much. Yeah, that's a good point. Jameson was a huge part of that win streak, but he's not even in the rotation anymore. I think that's by design. I like Trey Jameson. I love the attitude that he plays with, but let's not let's not overblow the situation here. He is a project player. Koloko, they're both at best two years away from being a consistent rotation player on any team in the NBA, unless you're just fishing for losses. He doesn't have any real scoring touch.
He has a few post moves.
He's got a couple of post moves, but those are usually only off of offensive rebounds, and he's a little bit undersized. And I like that he's got a chip on his shoulder, but at the same time, you can't pick up a technical foul every time you're in the game. You're a two-way contract, dude. Like, keep it together. Like, you don't need to fight the world every time.
We got Bando for that.
We got Bando. Bando's on a guaranteed contract. Earn your place in the league, then become the bad boy. Don't be the bad boy and never get a spot in the league. Let's just be a little smarter about this. He's a college graduate too, so you would expect a little bit more. Went to Stanford and had a pretty good GPA, as I recall. So you want to see him play that level of intellect. We don't need you to be a bad boy. We got Bando. Bando's the better bad boy anyway. He does it well.
I love that Rocky game where Dorian tried to be a bad boy and
nope, not your role.
And Steven just laughed at him.
Not your role, bro. Not your role. Stay in your lane. Bando does it, right? You saw him. It was against when he drew that offensive foul on Sengun, or maybe it was Adama. I can't remember who it was. But he's there and the guy just shoves him out of the way, and you could see him like the offensive player looking at the rest like, well, but he's got his elbow in me, and they're like, well, you can't shove him to the ground. And it's like, right, he knows. There's a little Dennis Rodman in Bando, which I really appreciate. Ability to
a lot of it.
A lot. You think a lot? I mean, he lacks the style and the overall gravity that Rodman possessed. But maybe it'll come in a couple of seasons. But he knows how to needle.
Attitude-wise, I'm not talking about.
He knows how to needle. He knows how to needle defensively, where you just start to get annoyed at him over the course of the game, and that's effective. Annoyance is an incredibly effective strategy.
Oh, I know.
I got the Lakers, and Adam has the Lakers and 5 of the Wolves. Anyone else is going to be a dogfight. I don't know why people are underselling the Wolves so much. I don't know if they don't believe in Ant-Man. I don't know what the lack of belief there is. Mike Conley is going to be great in the playoffs when the game slows down and it becomes a chess match. They're pretty healthy right now, I think. I would actually be more concerned about the Wolves than the Clippers, and I'm concerned about the Clippers. So I think you're right. Earlier, you said there was not a cakewalk in the playoffs, and I kind of agree with that. Other than the Kings, I think the Kings are kind of imploding. They're just going to get into the playoffs or the play-in by the skin of their teeth, and that's only because Portland didn't turn it on until a little bit too late. I'm not too worried about either the Kings or the Mavs. I also don't expect them to come out of the play-in. I think it's going to be the other two teams. So,
Well, if the Mavs came out of it, they would be a tough matchup for us because of their size up front.
The Kings?
No, the Mavs. If they came out
of that, and Anthony Davis would be hella motivated.
He's glad. Yeah, that I worry about that Mavs game as much as any of these.
Yes.
Because AD is going to be pissed off.
AD's like, I need to rest for a week so that I'm ready to destroy.
I'm going to knock you guys out of that 3rd seed single-handedly.
Oh, he would love to send LeBron that text. Oh, sorry, you're playing them. La 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 la. Houston's locked in at 2. Yeah, 805 Fillmore. There is a mathematical potential for us to get to the 2 seed. It is highly unlikely, and so I'm not even concerned with it. I really just want life for us to hold on to the 3 seed, have home court advantage over the Nuggets should it come to it. That's it. That's all I care about. I don't care about anything else. Home court advantage over Denver. I'm taking everything else as it comes. I'm happy with that. I'll ideally need 805. Like you said, ideally Lakers need 2 or 3. Let's go for the 3, baby. Let's focus on what's attainable. All right, today's game. What do you want to see from the team today, Michael?
What's that?
Today's game. What do you want to see from the team today at 12:30? Early start, everybody. We're terrible in afternoon games. It doesn't bode well for us.
Yeah, that's the problem for us, especially. We had a back-to-back, then had to fly out. Then we have to play a noon game.
And stay in Oklahoma for like 3 days.
It's almost like there was the fires in there that screwed a lot of things up, but still, it was like a lot of these back-to-backs down the stretch were not due to the fires.
No, this is all. A lot of this is yes, exactly. A lot of this is.
It's like the schedule makers were out to get the Lakers or something.
Feels like that every year, but yes.
But what I want to see I want to see our reserves make shots. I mean, you know, OKC is a great defensive team, but you see teams score on them from time more. Actually, a little bit better towards the end of this. Since the end, you see it a little more often towards the end of the season you did earlier on. They can be scored on. Everybody's going to have to be. We're going to have good shooting games from pretty much everybody, and we're going to have to figure out a way to keep Hartenstein off the offensive boards. He's just a handful. He's one guy when we could have picked him up for like the mid-level. I wish we would have done that.
He's exactly what we need.
He's exactly what we need. But
exactly what we need. Like he checks every box. I know Tom's dream is to get Miles Turner. I would so rather have Hartenstein.
Yeah,
I would just
Miles
so rather
Turner's not going to come here anyway.
No,
that's
we're not giving him $30 million. We don't have $30 million to give him.
Well, not only that, I mean,
he's gonna stay a pacer. I feel like he's gonna retire.
Yeah,
he's gonna be Mr. Pacer. He and Reggie Miller will be like the two pacers that like started and finished their careers in Indiana.
Yeah, so that's the key to me. Slow down one of their big two, Williams or probably SGA is probably going to get his. Nobody really slows him down. So, slow down Williams a little bit. Keep Hartenstein off the glass the best you can, and then make some shots.
Make SGA work. He's going to get 30. Make him take 25.
Make it a hard 30.
Yeah. Make it a hard 30. That's the goal, man. Let's not try to we're gonna contain Shai Gilgeous. It's not gonna happen. Nobody's containing that guy. But make it hard. Make him work for it. Make him work for it, and try to see if you can come up with a blueprint for the playoffs. Again, playoffs are all about adjustments. They're all about rotations and lineups. If the Lakers can win one of these games convincingly, maybe both, which I think is going to be very difficult. 2 games in a row.
It's going to be hard. It's going to
be hard because they've got a good coach. They've got a team playing with a lot of pride. This is something I don't know. I think Vando should start and Rui should be coming off the bench the way I would say yes to that, except for that Rui is if you look at the splits, he is just clearly a better starter. He plays so much better as a starter than he does coming off the bench. And I don't think you just say like really do better coming off the bench. Like it's not, I don't know what it is. I'm not a sports psychologist or basketball coach, but Rui as a starter is better for the team. Team wins more, team plays better.
And his defense is still underrated.
Everything about his game is underrated.
Yeah, his defense all year has been solid.
The only way I would move Vando into the starting lineup is if LeBron was the starting center. And then you could have a point guard of Reeves and Luka and Reeves are the guards. DFS or Rui is the 3. Rui is the 3. Vando's the 4. Or Vando's the 3 and Rui's the 4. It doesn't really matter at that point. And LeBron's the 5.
Yeah, and another thing too that I'm thinking is there's Vando's not getting a lot of minutes, so they are being very careful with him.
No, I'm telling you, this is a rebuild year. They're rebuilding his body. They're putting his feet through.
He's getting 13 to 15 minutes a game, and there's a reason for that.
Consistently, he almost never cracks 20.
Yeah.
And I think that's smart. I mean, I think that he was having stress reactions with his bones. So how do you help your bones build up from a stress reaction? You introduce them to more load gradually. You don't say like, well, here, go run around for 30 minutes a game and jump up and down on him a lot.
Yeah.
So I think they're playing it smart with Vando. I think they're playing him for the long haul in terms of his career as a Laker and going forward in general.
And for the playoffs. They don't want to go in the
I wouldn't be surprised if he'd ramped up to like 15, 20 minutes a game in the playoffs, depending on the matchups.
Yeah.
Depending on the matchups. It's all going to come down to matchups. So, all these guys are kind of harping on Dorian Finney-Smith and Gabe Vincent in the chat about being inconsistent. I mean, there's a reason you only make $11 million in the NBA, and that's either because you don't play defense at all, or you're an inconsistent scorer, and that's just who they are. I think that this version of Gabe that we got right now is probably the best version of Gabe that exists, and we're getting it, and so we should be content with that. Dory.
When he gets going, he gets going. When he doesn't, he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, that's anybody. That's Reeves even to some degree. Like Reeves is a little bit better at creating his own shot, making plays for others. That is not something that is in Gabe Vincent's toolbox, or at least that he's shown us.
Another thing you've got to think about too is it's tough being a consistent shooter without consistent number of shots. I mean, he was like 1 for 3 or 4 last game. Shooters need a rhythm. And so when you're coming off the bench and you're not getting many looks, it's just really a hard. I mean, there's been guys that's made a living being able to do that. But it's a rare. I mean, Big Shot Rob made a living being able to come off the bench and just knock down threes, in clutch moments. But there's a lot of that's a skill.
It is a skill. It's a mental skill as much as anything, because you can make shots. You've put the work in on your shot. It's having your brain prepared to wait 10 to 15 minutes before you start playing after you warm up. And I think that you'll hear that from a lot of guys who end up on a bench roll, is that they're like, well, I used to like warm up and then go right into the game. Now I got to warm up, sit for 15, 20 minutes, then get into the game. And you, as somebody who's not a professional athlete, that just sounds like, oh, so you got to sit around for like 10 minutes and then you went to work. It's not like that. It's just not like that. The level of competition, the speed at which the game is played at, you don't get 5 minutes to warm up as a bench guy. You got to come in ready to go.
Yeah.
That's
what I admired about Dalton last game was he hadn't played in 2 games, came in and started hitting shots.
And it came
that
in
was
ready
cool.
to go. No, I have high hopes for Dalton Connect. But like you said, he's a rookie. He's a rookie and he hasn't learned to play NBA defense, and he didn't come in with a defensive toolbox. To be honest, he's a better where Dalton impressed me was his rebounding.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
And his cutting. He's been a great cutter and he's been a great rebounder, especially on the offensive glass. All of that has been overlooked and underappreciated, I feel like. And I think it's one of the reasons they redid the trade, but not just because they realized they were getting what I think is a mostly broken player in return, but they didn't need another guy like Hayes. Mark Williams and Hayes are kind of the same. They're the frail, fast, leapy big guy.
No, not really, Jamie. Williams is 245 pounds, and he's making
more than the guy.
And he's a great rebounder. He scored. I mean, he's a good player that's hurt all the time.
I guess that's my main thing. Is like I always really devalue guys. Like everybody, this season it was like I think the 3rd season in a row where I heard 8 million people clamoring for us to get Time Lord, aka Robert Williams III.
Yeah, he's played 22 games this year.
He's played right. I'm like, why do you want to trade somebody like Hachimura?
Six games the year before.
Why exactly? I'm like, what? Okay, if we're playing a paper game where we're like, my roster on paper is playing your roster on paper, and look how great I am. Like, okay,
yeah,
but we're not. We're playing real games.
NBA 2K.
I don't care how good you are. You're not good because you're not playing. Yeah. So it's over. The debate is over.
Same thing with Lonzo Ball. He's out again with a wrist. Yeah, right. The guy, he just rotates body parts that get hurt.
It's like the end of Braveheart when like the Scottish king and his army didn't show up. It's like, oh, I really want for you guys to win. Well, you weren't there. You didn't show, and we all died. So thanks for nothing, Robert Williams or whatever his name. I think his name was Robert Williams too. Now that I think about it, I'll have to go up and look that up. Chat, look that up for me. Who's the chump king in Braveheart that didn't help out Mel and his perm and his extensions when he was Braveheart before he lost his mind and became an anti-Semite. All right, let's close out today. I'm salty, man. I went to some protests yesterday. Things are not looking. Things are ridiculous right now. Get your money out of your 401ks, boys. That's all I'm going to say. Put your money into gold doubloons. Bury them in a chest in your backyard. You're going to be just as well off in 4 years. I guarantee it. Let's see here. We got about. Let's wrap it up. What's your prediction for today, Michael?
Oh man,
I know you hate to do predictions.
Yeah, I always hate to do predictions because it's really tough. I think we'll give them a good game, but I'm thinking we're probably going to lose this one. My hope is on the second one.
Me too. I'm going to agree with you. I think
because like I said, back to back, had to fly in. Now they have a noon game. That's tough. That's really tough.
Wait, they didn't play yesterday, did they?
No, but the day before was back. They had the back to back.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Yeah. No, they had
one day off.
Day off,
but they had to fly in and play at noon. You know, Phil Jackson used to look at the schedule and he would circle what he called schedule losses.
Right.
I think this was one of those schedule losses.
LeBron never plays well in afternoon games. And if you've watched, I think it's called the Starting Five or something like that. And the series was like him, Ant-Man, Tatum. It's on Netflix. It's the thing that's weird about it. It was filmed last year, so there's nothing. Mike Brown is still the coach of Sabonis, and they talked to Mike Brown about his great, the future of the team, and AD's still a Laker, and he talks about you might want to know about my friend LeBron James, and I'm just like, ooh, this series didn't age very well, but hey, all right. But one of the things they pulled from it was that LeBron needs a nap. LeBron does not do well in life without a nap. Even his wife was like, around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Dad's got to go away. Like, just go take your nap. I don't want to hear it. Don't just go take the nap. When the wife is saying something like that, yeah, it's probably pretty true.
And Luka has to hit shots too. I mean, he can't have another one of these off games.
He's just got to figure that out in general for the playoffs. I'm not even talking about for tonight. I need to see him shooting at a 40% clip from here on out. We can't have any more of these 35, 36% games where you're 0 for 6 from you need to hit 30-ish% of your threes. You need to hit 40-ish% of your shots in the 2-point range, and you need to get to the line about 8 to 10 times. And if that's not happening,
he needs to hit 4 of 6 of those little 5-footers in the key that he's been missing on a consistent basis. He's been missing a lot of bunnies.
Yeah. I feel like his legs are going through a tough spot right now. I feel like his calves are acting up, and he's playing through it because it's the last part of the season, and he wants to. I think he plays for a lot of pride. I think he knows that playing with LeBron is at this point in time is a unique opportunity. If you win with LeBron right now, if you win a banner with LeBron right now, and you tie Boston again, especially if somehow it ends up being against Boston, you are etched on the wall of Laker legendary status
forever.
You're already getting your jersey retired. You tie Boston with you win one championship and tie Boston. You're going up with AD next to the wall. AD did one in 2020, tied Boston for a couple of years. Sean might be right. We're a little bit more pessimistic. Sean's got some great basketball acumen. I'm not doubting Sean. I just think that the afternoon game and LeBron isn't one of our best players, and if he's not going to play well, I just look at it as being an uphill climb. And I think that having 2 days without travel in OKC means we're going to be better in the second game than we will in the first. It'll also be at night, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. We gave away too many games this season. This is every team in the NBA. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just going to call you Cash. I'm not saying you're wrong, Cash. That's the NBA. That's professional sport. It matters most in football. You only play 6. Can't really give away too many games in football. You can give away a good 15, 20 games in baseball. You give away about 5 games in basketball, and that's to be expected. Much more than that, and that's when you start to see yourself slip into the play-in. Or even worse, like Phoenix, somehow you're not even going to make the play-in with that roster.
The most expensive roster in the league.
It's just imploding. And the fact that they fired Vogel for the same roster, basically, I was just like, you guys. And then they hired a coach not much different than Vogel and Budenholzer. I was like, what are you doing? Like, the only coach you need is somebody like rootin' tootin' shooting Mike D'Antoni, who's just going to be like, shoot 3, baby. That's it. That's my coaching. Shoot the 3.
Yeah, there's 2 teams I would worry about if I was a coach and like being hired. I'd worry about the Suns, and I'd worry about being hired by the Lakers.
You mean coming into the job for the first time as a new coach? You mean as a new coach coming into?
I would be.
Agreed.
I would be. Yeah, I don't think I would take a job with the Suns, and I'd be very reluctant to take a Laker job as well. We don't have a history of keeping our, oh, I'm sorry, you won a championship, and we had half the superstars were injured for 3/4 of the year, but you didn't win it again, so you're gone.
Right. That's what Vogel got both times. Well, no, the Raptors,
poor Frank.
Anyway, all right. My prediction is about the same as yours. I think we give them a tough game today. Come out with the loss, unless hey, I'm happy to be wrong, but that's my prediction. I would love for us to win out. It means we would guarantee hold on to the 3 seed. I think we need Denver to lose at least one more game, and we need to lose no more than 2 games. Because then we have
if we can win the next 4, we can sit everybody at the Portland game.
That would be fantastic. I kind of don't see that being the case. I think we're going to have to compete in that Portland game, unfortunately, just to keep the 3 spot. Don't forget, we own the tiebreaker with Denver. So if we tie Denver, it's no big deal. We just need to tie them in the standings. That's all. Then we move ahead. So don't forget that, fans. That's an important piece of the puzzle going down the stretch here.
That's the thing. Those tiebreakers. The first one is, of course, head-to-head. The second one would be, did you win your division?
Yeah.
But the next tiebreaker is the conference record, which we hold. Nobody's going to pass us at that.
We've done great in the conference, which is why I'm not too worried about the playoffs.
Yeah, OKC is the only team in the conference that's going to be better than us.
Nobody was months ago. If you thought, well, maybe OKC will fall to the 1 spot, I would have called you crazy. Like around January, I was like, OKC's got this locked up. They're just playing. They're playing with that level of confidence, and this is something I wanted to say before we end it. All of the seasons. For the last 5 seasons, I predicted a different team to win the regular schedule, the Western Conference during the regular season. I never picked that team to go all the way. And that's because I think there's teams that come into a regular season saying, we're going to show everybody who we are. And they put so much focus and effort into dominating the regular season. By the time the playoffs roll around, they've built, especially a young team like Minnesota last season and OKC this season. It takes a supreme coaching job to get you to reset and say, you did great. You did fantastic for 82 games, and now it doesn't matter anymore. Everybody's going to say like, oh, yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. But if you don't believe it, and that's why I'm saying this is a supreme coaching challenge, you're going to have a couple of games in the beginning of the playoffs where you're like, oh, we're not dominating. Oh, everything that was so easy for us in the regular season is not so easy now. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up right here. Thanks, Michael, for joining me. And everybody have a great weekend.
Aloha.